I'm joined now by Democratic Congressman Seth Magaziner of Rhode Island. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's start with these two recent ICE shootings in Houston and then the other one north of your Rhode Island district up in Maine. You were visibly frustrated on the House floor this week by these recent killings and have demanded accountability. Congressman, I'm curious, what does accountability practically look like for House Dems moving forward?
Well, listen, ICE has been acting as a completely out of control, dangerous, rogue agency under the Trump administration. And now multiple innocent people have been shot and killed in broad daylight with no consequences whatsoever. When Secretary Mullen took over for Kristi Noem as director of the department, he said that his goal was to turn down the temperature and get the department off the front page after the chaos in Minneapolis. But that clearly has not happened. There are, again, innocent people who have been gunned down in broad daylight in front of their families with no accountability. And, you know, the immediate reaction of the agency whenever one of these killings occurs is to immediately lie about what happened and hope that they don't get caught in the lie. And that is a hallmark of bad culture in an agency. So what does accountability look like? Well, first and foremost, agents who break protocol, agents who engage in excessive use of force need to be disciplined. And that hasn't happened. It hasn't happened with the violent incidents that happened at the beginning of the year or in late 2025. Of course, we haven't seen any discipline yet for these latest shootings. And so, I told the secretary in those hearings that he is never going to regain the trust of the American people if they do not show a willingness, like any other law enforcement agency in the country, to discipline officers or agents who break protocol, and it leads to civilian casualties. And I think we've long passed the point where it is too late for ICE under the Trump administration or at all to regain its sense of legitimacy with the American people. The American people do not like what is happening.
All right, I got a number of topics I want to cover with you today. So I want to turn, Congressman, to the president's speech on elections this week. And Secretary Mullen, talking about the same official here, threatening election officials yesterday who don't help DHS with voter roll reviews. I guess, Congressman, I'm curious your perspective here. Do you think any of these assertions from the administration about election integrity are in good faith?
Well, what I thought was most interesting about the president's speech was what was not in it. He did not present any evidence that the 2020 election or any election was stolen or fraudulent or not valid. He didn't produce a single shred of evidence, nor did he really try to in that speech, because there is no evidence that any of these elections were rigged or fraudulent. And we all know what's really happening here, which is that he anticipates that Republicans are going to lose big in the midterms because people are frustrated with high costs, people are frustrated with tariffs, people don't like the healthcare cuts, people don't like the fact that the president is more concerned about building ballrooms and monuments than he is in helping the average person in this country. And so he's laying the groundwork to be able to claim that the upcoming midterms were rigged too, because like a child, he can't ever admit defeat. And so we all know what's happening here. But again, even in this speech, a president who has lied repeatedly about elections didn't even really try to make the case or present any real evidence that previous elections in the United States were rigged, because there is no evidence of it. And even with the full weight of the FBI and the rest of the federal government behind him, he hasn't been able to find any evidence because there isn't any.